I'm Lucy Barnard, Features Editor at Estates Gazette, and I'm here today to meet TV historian Dan Snow at the Gallery in Farringdon for the launch of the Prince's Regeneration Trust's Green Guide for Historic Buildings.
The Prince's Regeneration Trust is a charity that focuses on heritage-led regeneration, and part of the work we do is our educational programme. In other words, producing publications that communicate to people ways in which they can improve the historic environment. And the particular publication which we've produced and which we're launching today is our guide, Green Guide for Historic Buildings. The whole point of the guide is to make something really practical for people who own listed or historic buildings who are struggling with the challenge of wanting to have a building that's sustainable, wanting to make changes to enable that to happen, but wanting also to do the right thing in terms of protecting the historic fabric of the building. And so we try to give it guidance to people, not just on what things can be done and how you can do them, but actually from a straight financial perspective, what things it makes most sense to do first.
Well, the Prince's Regeneration Trust very kindly invited me to come along and help them launch this guide today because we share an absolute passion for the built historic environment. I think it's what makes Britain absolutely unique. I think it's what makes Britain very special, is that we have all these incredible buildings around us, erected by our ancestors, dating right the way back to the Saxons and beyond sometimes, but they still feel relevant, they still have a modern use. And I think it gives the country a particular character that's really unique. And I guess what we're doing today is we're trying to say that these buildings, they're not charity cases. They can compete in the modern world with any other kind of building. They can be as energy efficient. They can be as you can be as pragmatic in the use of them as any other type of building. So we should cherish them, and they certainly have a place in planning into the future.
Well, I think there's no doubt that there are a number of people who are paying lip service to the green agenda, and it seemed to be high on everyone's list of priorities. And for some, it did get pushed to the back burner. But I think those that are serious, those that understand the issues, recognise this is an important part of what we need to do to understand our responsibilities to the community and to the environment. And most developers are much more sympathetic and, in a very professional manner, are revisiting what they do and how they do it. And if you're going to get planning permission for anything today, you know for sure it's going to be on the authorities' list of priorities. So it's important it's revisited. I think we'll look at it in a different way, and we'll have to fit in with the agendas of the political parties as they bring it forward as well. But yes, it's very much back on the top of the list.
But for historic buildings, isn't it prohibitively expensive to make them environmentally sustainable?
Well, there are specific issues about historic buildings, obviously, and one needs to be very sensitive to those and also to the needs of English heritage and the bodies that have responsibility for those. But they are such unique buildings. If we can bring them back into use, not only are we improving the physical fabric of the community, but more often than not, we're also improving the social fabric through job creation and other community benefits. So it may look like when you're looking at the profit and loss, but if there are other intangible benefits, that's important, and the industry understands that. And also, if you've got a unique product, you're more likely to get a premium pricing for that as well.
Well, historic buildings are actually every building that's ever been built, right? Because it's in the past, it's in the history. So actually there's a huge stock of buildings out there that we have access to. There's all sorts of buildings that are now run down. There's all sorts of ex-commercial, industrial lots that we can change to residential. So I think it's a very important part of the national strategy moving forward.